Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geek Report, your look at everything from movies and games to TV and anime.
Hey everyone, welcome to your Geek Report. This will be the Geek Report for the weeks of February 10th through March 3rd of 2025. Before I get started, I did want to apologize to you. I know I've been away for a couple of weeks, and things were going out of my control that prevented me from streaming. The first big thing was my TV. My TV went out unexpectedly, and I had to wait until I could get a new TV to where I could stream once again and even make videos. And then on top of that, it got so cold in my room because my room is not heated in any way. I don't have central air or anything like that. That basically it was just too cold for me to really do anything. Okay. So hopefully now I'll be able to start doing at least more geek reports. Whether or not I'll start streaming yet, I don't know because they are calling for more extreme cold weather to come up. But I will at least start doing more consistent geek reports. And I do apologize for taking the break for so long. Alright, but let's get on to with our geek report. This will be the geek report for February 10th through March 3rd of 2025. So the first little bit of news we're going to talk about comes in our TV and movie news segment, and we're going to talk about an old rumor that's making its rounds once again, and that is that Kathleen Kennedy is stepping down as head of Lucasfilm. Now I'm going to talk about this rumor. I'm going to tell you my personal opinions about this rumor and the overall legitimacy of this rumor now, because we have been down this road before, and I'm not going down it again. It's kind of like I've seen this movie before. I don't want a sequel. Same thing, okay? Then we're going to talk about our main news, and that comes in our gaming news segment, and that was the PlayStation State of Play. I'm going to show you a couple of trailers that kind of caught my interest, and just overall tell you what I thought of the PlayStation State of Play and everything that we saw there. So sit back, relax, grab yourself something to eat, grab yourself something to drink, and let's look at your Geek Report for the weeks of February 10th through March 3rd of 2025.
Our first segment tonight is our movie and TV news segment.
So, starting off with this episode of the Geek Report, I want to talk about a rumor that has reared its ugly head once again. And I'm not going to talk a lot about this, okay? But over the past few days, as of the recording of this video, a new rumor has surfaced surrounding the one, the only, Kathleen Kennedy. Now, I want to be absolutely clear in my wording next. What you're about to hear is rumor only, okay? So I will be putting a rumor warning on this, okay? Nothing has been confirmed. Nothing has been officially made public by Lucasfilm, by anybody, but this rumor is swirling around once again, and that is that Kathleen Kennedy is retiring from Lucasfilm at the end of the year. Now, there's a lot going into this rumor, and if it is confirmed, which I pray to God it is, but if it is confirmed, then I will talk more about this, okay? But I did want to talk about this a little bit in terms of, first off, I want to be clear in what I'm saying, okay? I want to be absolutely clear in what I am saying. I completely blame Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger for the destruction of Star Wars. Alright? Everyone loves the original Star Wars movies. Everyone loves the prequel Star Wars movies. I wouldn't say love, but I enjoy The Force Awakens. I love Rogue One. I love, The Mandalorian Season 1 and 2. Okay? I love Skeleton Crew and Star Wars Visions. Okay? I know people who love the Clone Wars and the Bad Batch. But the sequel movies were her design, her baby, basically. And they are so divisive. They have completely destroyed. It only took 10 years for this woman to destroy the goodwill and the fan base that took George Lucas, John Williams, and the rest of the original Star Wars crew over, 50 years? to build up, it only took her 10 years to destroy. And it don't matter what you're talking about. It don't matter if you're talking about the Force's female nonsense. It don't matter if you're talking about how she treated the original trilogy characters in The Last Jedi, The Force Awakens, and The Rise of Skywalker. It don't matter how she treated the new characters which were supposed to be replacing the old characters. She is the one and only person to blame for the complete and utter destruction of one of the most fabled franchises in movie history. I want to be clear on that, okay? Alright? Because there was a point, right, where I could go to Walmart and it would be difficult for me to find a Star Wars toy. Okay? Literally hard to find a Star Wars toy or for them to keep it in stock. Okay? Now, I can literally go to Dollar General or Family Dollar or Ollie's or heck, probably Dollar Tree at this moment and find just rolls and rolls of Star Wars toys. Okay? Toys that no one wants that they had to sell off because no one wanted them. Okay? So the rumor that is going around is that at the end of the year she is going to retire from Lucasfilm. Now, understand something. Okay? Her contract is up in September. So there is some weight to this rumor. The way it came out from an unknown publication gives it weight. Okay? But we have been down this road before. We have heard these rumors before. Oh, she's going out at the end of so-and-so. The Acolyte was so bad, they gotta get rid of her. The Rise of Skywalker, The Last Jedi were so terrible, they gotta get rid of her. She announces all this stuff and never gets made, and they gotta get rid of her. We have heard this before, and every time it has turned out to be either some PR stunt or somehow, some way, she spins it to where she stays. Okay? Let me just say this. Like I said before, this is still just rumor, alright? Nothing has been confirmed. Okay, nothing has been said. And I know there are reports that this is true and all this other stuff. But until I actually hear something from Bob Iger, from Disney, from the Disney board, I'm not going to believe it. Okay? I mean, as of the recording of this video, the Oscars are coming on tomorrow night. Okay? And I'll talk about that next week. Tomorrow night, the Oscars come on. If she comes up on stage and says, "Hey, everyone, I've decided to retire from Lucasfilm. We'll be announcing my replacement in the coming weeks, blah, blah, blah." I don't think it'll happen, but if that happened, then I'll talk more about it, okay? But I did want to say this rumor is going around, and I'll just be honest with you. I don't believe it because there's a lot of smoke and there's a lot of fire there, but the fire ain't that big, okay? It just ain't that big. When we got more information about this, when actually something has been announced, then I'll talk more about it. But I think if she were to leave, there would be a lot going on behind the scenes that would basically be forcing her out. I think the first thing would be the Gina Carano lawsuit. Okay? I've stated that I think stuff is so bad to be made in Discovery that I think people could go to prison. And I think a way that they could perhaps stop Discovery is to let her go. Okay? And I think that could be something that's pushing her out. She is getting on up there in age. That could be another thing that's kind of forcing her out. Maybe she's just tired of fighting against all this. Okay? There's so much to deal with any possible chance of her retiring. Who would take her place? That sort of thing. Okay? But the rumors are still swirling now that She is talking about retiring at the end of 2025. There is smoke, but there's also a little fire there. But the fire ain't that big. So until some announcement has been made, I'm not going to talk more about this. But the rumors are swirling out there. And I will say, from my personal perspective, I don't think she's going to retire from movie making. But I have to wonder if maybe perhaps she ain't being forced out because the Acolyte being so bad, Gina Carano lawsuit coming down on them. I have to wonder if perhaps maybe it's time for her to kind of turn and run, to leave, you know. And if that does happen, and like I said before, if that does happen, that's a big if. I know a lot of people have written off Star Wars. I haven't. I think if that does happen, it could very well open the door for someone to come in and say, okay, look, this is what worked, this is what didn't, let's start from scratch. Okay, I think it could really open the door for a monumental shift in the direction Star Wars is going right now. Okay? But I don't think nothing's going to happen until she leaves. Okay? And I know people are probably going to be out there and saying like, oh, well, what about the Mandalorian Grogu movie? You know, that's going to be one of the things that's going to be kind of up in the air. But I tell you, until I know more information, I'm not going to assume this is true because we've been down this road before. We've been burned before. And I'm tired of being burned. So until some type of official statement comes from her or Lucasfilm or Bob Iger, as of right now, this is still only rumor.
Now, moving on from the world of TV and movies, let's look at what happened this week in the world of video games.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the real big story that happened this past week was that Sony did their State of Play. Now, if you don't know what State of Play is, it's basically Sony's special presentation. Kind of like their Nintendo Direct or Xbox Live Showcase, where basically they give a preview in a live stream of what's all coming out for PlayStation in the upcoming year. Okay? So, there were a couple announcements made. Some we already knew about. You know, the one we did know about already was Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. But there was also another announcement called Soros that we didn't know about. Now, we're going to take a look at the State of Play and the announcements that have been made. And I'm just going to give you some of my thoughts and opinions on them. So, the first game we're going to look at combines two things that I really like a lot. The first one being the price. And it's saying it's going to be free. Now, I'm expecting microtransactions, okay? And I really do hope they're not real bad microtransactions. But the base game will be free. And the second thing is giant robots destroying stuff. And what I'm talking about is War Robots Frontiers. Okay? So, I have to say I am very pleased by what I saw here. Okay? Giant robots destroying stuff. Okay, that's what we want inside of a mech game. Okay? So let's take a look at this trailer, and I'll give you some of my thoughts and opinions on it. But this here is the trailer for War Robots Frontiers. Okay, already I'm seeing that it's going to be an arena type shooter with war robots, okay? And I absolutely love that, okay? I dig, like, mech games, okay? I really do, like, love giant robots just destroying stuff, okay? Maybe it harkens back to my love of Macross or Gundam or whatnot, but I just love just total destruction, okay? And I'm kind of seeing that here. Another thing I'm noticing, and I'm going to go back just a few seconds here, is it looks like they're taking an Overwatch approach to it. Okay? And let me show you this here again. See, that right there reminds me of a character from Overwatch. So what we're probably going to have is basically a hero shooter where certain mechs can do certain things. Okay, maybe this mech can deploy a shield. This mech can sit here and fly and shoot down. Having special abilities as well as ultimates. Okay, as well, and maybe who knows? Maybe they're going to take it a step further, where if you have a particular chassis for the robot, you can put a particular special on it. Okay, or a particular weapon or whatnot. Okay, so maybe they're even going to take that a step further. Okay, but what I'm seeing here reminds me of Overwatch in that they're doing the whole abilities and special abilities thing going on here. I'm loving the environment, okay? But I'm not really seeing any city destruction, okay? All the destruction is focused on the robots, okay? And it seems like the buildings are going to be kind of getting in the way of your sight lines and whatnot. Okay, so people are going to love this part of the game because I know people who play these games just so they can make their very own, Macross fighters or Robotech or Gundams or whatnot. Okay, one of the big things about Mech Warrior is the customization, and I'm already liking what I'm seeing here with the customization. The question I have is this: is how will this customization affect the machine? Okay, like right here in this scene right here, you see that they have a big gun on top of the chassis. Okay, will that slow your speed down? Will there be ways where you can get your speed back up with the legs? I mean, what about armor? I mean, that's going to be really the big thing for me in terms of customization. Is will there be trade-offs and bonuses for having certain armors and certain sets and whatnot? Okay, if you have like an entire set from one particular faction or whatnot, will it give you some type of extra bonus? Okay, or if you have this chest plate that slows you down, can you have these legs that speed you up? Okay, there's really going to have to be a trade-off and a bonus to each and every piece of armor and weaponry you put on these machines. Okay? And another thing I'm worried about is microtransactions. In terms of, are they going to put gameplay weapons behind a paywall? I don't want that, okay? I don't care if it's cosmetics, okay? I really don't care. But if they start putting weapons behind a paywall, I'm not down with that. Because that is a gameplay element. And that's basically saying if you have a credit card, then you're going to have an advantage over person A, B, C, and D. Okay? Okay, we're already seeing, capture the flag or capture the point or whatnot, where you capture these points on a map. Okay, we've seen all that before. And those are some of the maps. And like I said before, one of the things about mech combat games like Hawken and Mech Warrior is that you can destroy the map somewhat. Okay, not everything can be destroyed, obviously, but there's a semblance of destruction. Okay, I'm not seeing that with the environment here. Okay, I'm really not, because it seems like every shot is going after the mechs. What happens to those misses? What happens to those bullets? I mean, do they just bounce off the buildings? I mean, can you, like in this picture right here, can you destroy the rail line to somewhat change the map? That's what I'm looking for. Now, the maps really do look good. Okay, they are very they're honestly reminding me of some of the Titanfall maps. Okay, and I love those Titanfall maps. Okay, even when you were playing on the ground as well as in your mech or your Titan in this case. All right, then I like those maps, okay? They really had a good flow and fluidity to them, okay? And I'm hoping that's what we have here with these mechs, okay? Or titans, as they're calling them, okay? Which kind of worries me another thing because, in Titanfall, they called the mechs titans. Is that going to be a problem if they call them in this game titans as well? Is there going to be some confusion, okay? Okay, so that was War Robots Frontiers. You're going to be able to play for free on March 4th, 2025. It is coming out on PS5 and PS4, thankfully. So just some final thoughts on this, okay? Just some final things I want to talk about on this. So, first off, and let me get this back. So, first off, my first issue is what is the destructibility of the maps? Okay? Now, look, I'm not saying that everything has to be destructible, okay? I'm really not, okay? I get that the maps have to have a flow to them. But you're walking around in giant mechs, okay? You've got to be able to destroy some of the map and alter it. Like that one image, okay? And let me see if I can't find it here. Like that right there. Like that right there, okay? Like those rail lines or whatever type of lines those are, okay? Are you going to be able to destroy those to change the map out some? Are you going to be able to use those against your enemy? I didn't see that in this gameplay trailer, okay? When you're walking around in giant death machines, you need to be able to do that. You need to be able to use your environment. You need to be able to destroy stuff. And all I really saw get destroyed was the mechs, which ain't bad, okay? But what I'm trying to say here is that when you're walking around in a giant death machine, you need to be able to destroy the map as well as the mechs. And that needs to be able to change the map somewhat. I didn't see that in this trailer, okay? Now, does that automatically say that the game's going to be bad? No. I just think that it's a detail that needs to be put in, okay? I really do think that is a detail that needs to be put in. But yeah, that was War Robots. You're going to be able to play on March 4th, 2025 for PS5 and PS4. Look, it's a free game. Okay, so we're going to obviously have microtransactions in it. I am curious also about any type of campaign or story behind it. Because another thing that is getting these type of games out there is a story. Okay, the story has to be good. Why are you fighting in this arena? You know what I'm saying? Is it like a Solaris deal where you're a mercenary and you're just trying to make money? Or are you fighting to gain access to new worlds? I mean, what's the story behind all this? Okay. I mean, I really didn't see that in this trailer. I really didn't see it. So, I'm kind of curious on that. And I did not see the destructibility that you normally see in a mech game. No, Titanfall is a big example of this right here, okay? In that, in Titanfall, you couldn't really destroy the buildings, okay? And they kept the flow of the map going. And Titanfall is a great map. But the fact of the matter is, as Titanfall went on, okay, you could eventually start destroying small pieces of the buildings. Mech Warrior is another example of this. When you're playing through the Mech Warrior campaign, you can destroy whole buildings with your battle mech. Okay? I'm hoping that they add the destructibility here, and I hope that if they do add the destructibility, okay, that it actually does something to the map. So let's say you're being chased by another battle mech and you're underneath one of those rail lines in that one map. I think that you should be able to destroy that map and it falls down on the guy, maybe damaging his mech. Maybe not completely destroying his Titan, but damaging it somewhat, okay? Are the weapons going to be able to be blown off? Okay, or is it just all or nothing? In Mech Warrior, if you blow off, say, an arm, like let's say your arm gets blown off from your battle mech, you lose the weapons in that arm. Is it going to be similar in this game? Okay, I'm very interested to play this because I really do enjoy these giant robot type of games. Okay, and it is for free, but the big question is, because it's free, what are the microtransactions going to be like? Are we talking like, okay, the microtransactions are going to be all cosmetic, or are they actually going to go the Call of Duty route and start putting gameplay elements in the microtransactions? Okay, where you can buy certain guns instead of earning them. I'm not down with that. If there's like a skin for like a particular piece of armor or a weapon or whatnot, I can handle that. But when you're talking like gameplay elements, I'm not down with that. And we still don't know what the prices of those microtransactions are going to be. Okay? I mean, are they going to do Call of Duty where, you get 4 things for $30, the price of a regular game? Or are they actually going to show us a proper microtransaction system where, we as gamers can get behind it? Where we can say, oh, kind of like Fortnite. With Fortnite, you don't have to buy the bundles. If you just want this character or this axe or whatnot, you can pay a lesser amount and get that. Okay? I think Fortnite probably has some of the best microtransactions around. Okay? Now, I don't like microtransactions. I've bought microtransactions. Don't get me wrong. I just don't like them. I'm hoping that they take that route where you don't have to buy whole packs to get what you want. You can buy, say, this skin for $5, or this weapon skin for $5, or whatnot. Okay? But the one thing I don't want them to do is to alter gameplay elements through microtransactions. I don't care if it's free or not. That's going to ruin the game. But yeah, that was War Robots. It is coming out on PS5 and PS4. It's going to be a free-to-play game on March the 4th, 2025. Although I am expecting microtransactions. I want to know more about it, but being that it is free, I probably will download this and give it a try. Okay, so let's move on to our next game. And this was also announced at PlayStation's State of Play. And this is kind of a sequel to a game long ago that Sega did. And I do remember this game a little bit. It was kind of a platformer. It mixed ninjas. And it was kind of Sega's response to Ninja Gaiden. Okay? And that game was Shinobi. Well, now they're coming out with a new version of this called Shinobi Art of Vengeance. And this was announced at PlayStation's State of Play. So let's take a look at this, and I'm just going to give you some of my thoughts and opinions on it. But this here is the game trailer for Shinobi Art of Vengeance coming out soon.
Forged to unleash vengeance.
Now, it's coming from the creators of Streets of Rage. They do side-scrolling beat-em-ups. So that's kind of what I'm expecting from this game as well. It's going to mix that side-scrolling beat-em-up action, kind of like the original Double Dragon and Streets of Rage, with like the ninjas and the kind of Ninja Gaiden aesthetic.
More than a weapon, it is the soul of a shinobi.
Now, I really like the watercolor of it. It really looks dope, that whole watercolor look of it. And the fact that they've taken that, status bar setup from Ghost of Tsushima and brought it here is also kind of cool as well. Because we're now seeing more of that type of status bar where you can, like, stagger someone and you know when you're going to stagger them. And it kind of adds a little bit of, chess play to each fight. Do you stagger this person? Do you just outright take them out? I mean, what gives you much more benefit? Alright. So, we are seeing more of those type of gameplay elements from Ghost of Tsushima cross over into other games. And I'm not unheartedly against that either. I think that's really good. That's really dope. Because those elements of the status bar, the life bar with the stagger bar is totally cool with me. Okay, right there, we saw what looked to be a power. So let's go back and look at that again.
No.
So right there, we saw what looked like to be a superpower. So I'm expecting to be like a skill tree, superpower tree, earnable magic, that sort of thing.
Obstacle can stand in their way.
And I'm also seeing, we're going to have different types of weapons, which is so Ninja Gaiden-ish, okay? In Ninja Gaiden, you had the nunchucks, you had the staff, you had the dragon sword, you even had the claws. And I'm seeing the same thing here.
Soaring where others would not dare. Striking with lethal precision.
And I'm seeing different types of gameplay, like this right here. This whole snowboarding type of thing. I don't think I've really experienced that in any other Ninja games except Ninja Gaiden. I think there was a couple of sequences like this, but they weren't like side-scrolling. They're like 3D. So this is kind of really taking me back to those old side-scrolling gameplay element days of the side-scrolling beat-em-ups like Double Dragon, Ninja Gaiden, the original Ninja Gaiden. Let's see. Maybe even you can go as far as Contra. I know that has shooting in it, but that sort of game. That's the whole overall feeling I'm getting. Okay, honestly, this whole game really reminds me of Mark of the Ninja that just came out a few years ago. So yeah, I'm getting that whole feeling right there. And I'm suspecting that's some type of ultimate that you're going to have to earn. Like if you have like a bar and it fills up, then you're going to be able to unleash an ultimate.
Each weapon a tool, each tool a part of the whole. This is the mastery of a shinobi. The legend continues.
Okay, and that's the end of the trailer right there. Let me just say this, okay? Let me just say this right now. I do not have a problem with this gameplay trailer. I think this was a really done gameplay trailer. I really enjoyed it. It's bringing me back to these old side-scrolling 2D days when I would stay up all night playing Ninja Gaiden or Contra or Double Dragon, those type of games, okay? That's what's taking me back to, okay? And I'm not totally against it, I am curious about the story. I'm curious about the skill trees, because obviously we're probably going to have skill trees, and if they're smart, they'll do each skill tree per weapon. I'm curious how we're going to utilize the weapons. For example, we saw that scene where he was going from side to side using the rope, the whip rope, whatever you want to call it. Is there going to be a skill tree for that where it actually becomes more of an offensive weapon rather than just a way to traverse the environment? Is it going to be more open world where you can come back to certain areas and collect items after you've gotten certain types of weapons? This is a good trailer to kind of tease you with, okay? I liked it a lot, and it does open the possibility for what's to come. But yeah, that was Shinobi Art of Vengeance. It's coming out August 29th, 2025. You can pre-order it now. This is another one of them that kind of throws me back to the side-scrolling days. And I'm not going to say I'm excited for it, but I'm very interested by it. About what it's offering and what it's showing us. It's a very good tease, and I'm liking what I'm seeing. So, moving on to our next game. The next game that really caught my eye was Tides of Annihilation. Now, based on the gameplay trailer, this honestly looks like it could be a Dark Souls or Elden Ring type of game. But it's also kind of mixing in, Knights of the Round Table and King Arthur and stuff, just based on some of the things they've talked about in the trailer. So, we're going to take a look at the trailer, and I'm just going to give you some of my thoughts and opinions on it. But this here is the reveal trailer for Tides of Annihilation.
No one knows how that world came into being.
Now, already, this looks like it's mixing fantasy and reality. Okay? And what I mean by that is you can see, like, the great Big Ben clock on its side. You can see what looks to be almost like magic flowing out of the ground. So this is kind of taking a near automata aspect to it, almost. In that they are kind of mixing reality and fantasy a little bit. Okay? Where you're having like real world locations, but you're having mechanics like magic and swords and stuff.
Devoured everything from the past.
See, like right there. That's a Ferris wheel. Okay?
Only I was left.
But right there, you look at that, that looks like swords and magic. Okay?
That was a fatal mistake.
I can sense it.
Now, what he said right there, let me go back and show you what he said, okay?
It's the aura of the Grail pieces. I can sense it.
That right there will become important later on. Because they're going to have a lot of mentions and alludes to stuff like King Arthur and Knights of the Round Table. Okay? So keep what he said in mind, alright? Because that will become important later.
As long as it is reforged.
My wish can be fulfilled.
But wishes come at a price.
To pursue one's wishes is to court one's doom.
Now, these scenes right here are really evoking like Shadow of the Colossus. So I'm kind of wondering if they ain't mixing the two. Like they're going to have elements of Shadows of the Colossus where you have to fight these giant colossi. But also have like ground battles where you fight with magic and swords and whatever else. Okay? See, like, just a minute ago, we saw a giant colossi, okay? And if I can get it back. Just a minute ago. Yeah, right there. We see a giant colossi that you're probably going to have to fight. And then in the next scene, we see what looks like an ordinary boss battle. Like you would see in Final Fantasy or something. So I'm kind of wondering if they ain't mixing the two. Where in Shadow of the Colossus, you had to defeat these giant colossi, by taking them down. I'm kind of wondering if maybe they're not switching it up a little bit, where you have to get onto these giant colossus and then go inside and fight a boss battle to defeat the colossi. So kind of mixing Final Fantasy with Shadows of the Colossus. See, there's another allusion to Knights of the Round Table and King Arthur, the Holy Grail. Okay?
This is a feast only for the king.
Gwendolyn, this is your final warning.
And man, the graphics on this look incredible. Okay? I know this is a PS5 trailer. I fully understand that. But they look absolutely dope in this.
My quarrel lies not with you, but I will take back everything that belongs to me. Even if the price is my soul. The table is dead. It exists no more.
And right there's another cutscene of the table. No, Knights of the Round Table, that sort of thing. Let me say, I don't really get into, like, RPG element games like Final Fantasy. Now, I love Shadow of the Colossus, but I've never really gotten into, like, Final Fantasy or those RPG type of games. There are a few exceptions, and this very well could be one of them. Just based on what I saw here, okay? It's supposed to be coming out soon. And there is no release date for it that I know of. But they're saying to wishlist it now. So I'm expecting it to be either late 2025 or early 2026. Let me say, I am very intrigued by this. I mean, just full on intrigued by this. Okay? Because the fact that they're mixing King Arthur. They're mixing what looks to be like real world locations. You saw Big Ben. You saw a Ferris wheel. That was probably the Millennium Wheel in London. And I think the whole entire story looks to be taking place either in London or thereabouts. So you're talking England. So that's another link to Camelot and King Arthur and the Round Table, the Holy Grail, all that. Okay. I'm very interested in this. Okay, I'm extremely interested in this. Okay, I want to know more about this. Okay, I mean, are you going to be able to choose your character? Are you going to be able to customize your character? I would like to know a little bit more of the story. I mean, are they really going to be mixing the Colossus with like Final Fantasy elements, where you get to the Colossus and then you gotta get inside and fight like a boss battle? Okay. That's kind of where my mind is going with this, just based on what I saw. Yeah, I'm very interested in this. Okay, I think this could be a great RPG that could get people who aren't really into RPGs into RPGs. And I'm one of those people. I liked Cyberpunk because it didn't feel like an RPG. It felt like a shooter. This feels more like an action-adventure game than an RPG. Okay? But I think it's going to have some intense RPG elements in it, okay? I think it's going to play like an RPG. So maybe this is the game that gets me into RPGs. I've never really been to RPGs. Nothing against them. They ain't my cup of tea. But yeah, this could be the game that gets me into it. I just got to know more about it. But yeah, this is definitely something I'm going to keep my eye on in the upcoming future. So continuing on with our State of Play coverage. Another game that kind of caught my eye at the State of Play was Onimusha Way of the Sword. The reason being was that many of the elements of the Onimusha titles that came long ago have now been incorporated into modern gaming. For example, in Ninja Gaiden, you have the orbs. Devil May Cry has the orbs. That all started with Onimusha. Okay, and now they're coming out with a new entry in the series. So I'm very interested to see this. Now, I'm not very familiar with Onimusha, okay? I'm not very familiar with the story at all. But I kind of wanted to show this and give it a look-see. So this here is the trailer for Onimusha Way of the Sword, a upcoming title coming out in 2026. Now, this main character here, and I'm not exactly sure who that is, looks to be beat up and just put down, you know. He looks to have been put through the ringer, basically. And we have the ubiquitous monsters coming out of the woodwork. So this is really giving me Sekiro vibes, just by the darkness of it and the monsters and whatnot. So this feels more Sekiro than Ghost of Tsushima.
Let's see your best then, eh?
Now, that name is very familiar because Miyamoto Musashi, he basically created the Bible for warriors. I think it was called Way of the Warrior, if I'm not mistaken. Let me Google that just to be sure. But yeah, like, I recognize that name as someone who created basically a... Okay, so what Google says is Miyamoto Musashi was a Japanese swordsman, strategist, artist, and writer who became renowned through stories of his unique double-bladed swordsmanship and undefeated record in his 62 duels. Miyamoto is considered a Kensei of Japan. Okay. So, basically, he is one of the most well-known samurai in the world. Okay. And I think he also wrote a book, I think like Way of the Warrior or something like that. I might be wrong about that. Let me check here. Okay, he was the founder of the Nichiren Ichiru or Nichiren Ichiru style of swordsmanship. And in his final years authored the Book of the Five Rings and Dokodio, The Path of Aloneness. Okay, wait. Nichiren Ichiru. Okay. For a second there, that name kind of clicked in my head for a little bit. But I don't think it's the same one. But anyway, so it says here that he wrote the Book of Five Rings and Dokido, The Path of Aloneness, and Go Ren no Sho. Okay. So he did write books. But yeah, he's one of the most feared samurai in all of Japanese lore. Okay? And he used a double-bladed samurai sword, which was very unusual at the time.
Swordplay is a game of strength. Winning is what matters.
Okay, already I'm seeing that this is going to be a parry-heavy game, where you're really going to have to learn how to parry and attack quickly and efficiently.
And you can bring as many friends as you want. Not good.
Man, the boss battles looks dope in this.
What got them so riled up?
I'm glad you're unharmed.
Who? What?
Alright, so that was Onimusha Way of the Sword. So they are kind of using a real-life samurai to base this game off of. But obviously they're going to be taking liberties with it, with the fact that they are going to have monsters in it. It's coming out in 2026 for PS5. You know, all these PS5 exclusive games really are indicating to me that I'm on the money, that more than likely this year, or at least they'll make the announcement that this year they'll stop support of the PS4. I think the PS4 days were numbered, and it's been a good console. But yeah, that was Onimusha Way of the Sword. It's coming in 2026 for PS5. It looks good, but I would like to know a little bit more about the story and where they're going with it in terms of the gameplay. But overall, good story, good trailer, all that jazz, and it does look interesting. So the final game we're going to talk about that was announced at the State of Play was Saros. Now, this is being brought out as kind of a spiritual successor to Returnal, okay? Where each time you die, you actually get stronger, but things change a little bit, okay? So this is kind of being billed as a spiritual successor to that game. So let's take a look at this game, and I'm just going to give you some of my initial thoughts on it, okay? But please keep in mind, I never played Returnal, so I really don't know how all that worked out. But this here is the first trailer for the upcoming game, Saros.
It always comes back to this. This world, this moment, this choice.
Now that right there is a big thing, because in Returnal, your choices determined your outcome. Okay? In Returnal, the choices determined whether or not you lived or died and what powers you got in the next, I guess you call it the next go round. Okay? So that's very important right there. So they are bringing back that power of choice in this game.
Every time the sun dies, madness reigns. Then everything begins again. But after every death, I always come back stronger. I know that you are here, and I will find you.
And seriously, I'm starting to wonder if this maybe ain't some type of sequel to Returnal. Okay? That this really ain't a sequel. They have said this ain't a sequel, but I'm kind of wondering if this is either a sequel or if this ain't taken in the same universe as Returnal. And there you have it, that it is coming out in 2026. So that was Saros. It looks very interesting. Okay, let me just say it like that. It looks extremely interesting. And I am curious about it because I've heard Returnal was a pretty decent game. Okay. But there's so many questions I have, like the story, and are they going to take the exact same path as Returnal where every time you die you come back stronger? Or are they going to take a completely different path? Or is there going to be a permadeath mode? I mean, stuff like that. Okay. But yeah, that was Saros. It's coming out in 2026. Another PS5 exclusive. And the one thing I'm noticing is that all the 2026 games are PS5 exclusives. And it's just like I've said before. I really do think that 2025 will be the final year of the PS4. So, in conclusion, I want to talk about the state of play. Now, I was very disappointed in it a little bit. Okay, yeah, there were a few good nuggets like War Robots and Shinobi, Tides of Annihilation and Sorrows. But really, what the State of Play did was reinforce the fact that 2025 is the end of the PlayStation 4. Okay? That I truly, truly believe that either they'll make the announcement this year or they'll actually do it and they'll end support for the PlayStation 4 in 2025. Now, I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think they'll wait until at least 2026 to actually pull the plug on the PlayStation 4. But I do think the PlayStation 4 days are numbered. I think at minimum they'll make the announcement this year of when they're going to cut support for the PlayStation 4. Okay? And this State of Play kind of reinforced that. Besides that, and maybe a few little nuggets like Tides of Annihilation, I mean, I wasn't really too impressed with the State of Play. Not really. Okay? I mean, the PlayStation is still missing some of those iconic brands that made it the juggernaut it is. You know, where is a new Infamous game? You know, when are we getting another game on the level of Killzone? Because Guerrilla Games has said, you know, they don't want to do Killzone. Okay, I'm down with that. I understand that. You've done your part. But there still should be a way for PlayStation to get another studio to do Killzone. Okay? Many, and I do mean many of the iconic brands that made PlayStation what it is are not mentioned. Have not been mentioned since the PlayStation 5 dropped. Okay? Are we going to get a Infamous remaster? Okay? I mean, we're seeing all these remasters happen. Where is the remaster for Infamous or Killzone? You know? You know, besides those few nuggets I talked about, there really wasn't anything that interested me in the State of Play. And I'm just kind of wondering, you know, are they really saving the big stuff for Summer Games Fest that's going to be happening this June? Or is this all they got that's coming out this year? And early 2026. You know? I mean, if they're trying to get people to buy the PlayStation 5, to invest in the PlayStation 5, to pay that high dollar price for the PlayStation 5 Pro, okay? You know, there's more to a system than just the hardware. There's the actual software. And there really isn't anything I saw that makes me want to jump ship yet. The closest things I've seen come to that have been Horizon Zero Dawn, have been MechWarrior 5 Clans, and have been Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty. That's it. Everything else, I'm like, you know? I mean, I'll just be honest. I really don't see why they even did State of Play at this moment. Okay? Maybe they should have waited until, like, Summer Games Fest. Maybe they were jumping the gun because of the Nintendo Switch 2 announcement. But for whatever reason they did. But still, it didn't float my boat. And it didn't make me want to go and get a PlayStation 5. Okay? Yeah, Tides of Annihilation looks awesome. Okay? War Robots looks awesome. But is it enough to make me spend an extra $300 on a console? No. And I think until they lower the price of at least the PlayStation 5 launch edition, okay? Until they lower that price, okay? Until they lower that price of that PlayStation 5 launch edition, okay, at least. I'm not asking for the PlayStation Pro to be lowered, but the original PlayStation 5 to be lowered down in price. You're not going to really see people jumping ship because really all they got to do is go over to Nintendo Switch and see what they offer, and Xbox and see what they offer, and realize they offer the same value as what PlayStation is offering. Difference being it's at a lower price. Okay? And with the way the economy is now, People are going to take price as a big consideration. And until they lower that price somehow, no one's really going to jump ship to the PlayStation 5 before the PlayStation 4 loses all relevance. Before finally they decide to cut the PlayStation 4. Okay? So until they are ready to announce that price drop in the PlayStation 5, they shouldn't be doing any more state of plays. Simple as that. And that's just my opinion. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was your Geek Report for February the 10th through March 3rd of 2025. Just to kind of recap what we talked about another rumor swirling around that Kathleen Kennedy was going to be retiring from Lucasfilm. And in our gaming news segment, we talked about the PlayStation State of Play. Their big, direct to the consumer video about what's coming out soon for the PlayStation console. Again, I want to apologize for being away for so long. I'm going to try to be more consistent in coming back. I've got some new things on tap that I'm going to talk about, new streams I'm going to be doing. So please stay tuned to my channel for that. But look, I thank y'all for joining me. You guys take care of yourselves. Watch over each other. Y'all be groovy. Y'all be cool to one another. And I will see y'all in the next video and in the next stream. Laters.
Thank you for watching this week's Geek Report. I hope you enjoyed it. Please check out my other video sites as well as my social media. And if you can please, leave a like and a comment on this video. We will see you guys in the next video and the next stream. Laters.